This church realized that if we don't do something, if we don't change, if we don't understand that there's some way that we're missing the purpose of reaching our community, then we're going to close the doors, we're going to die, and they didn't want that. But since we've been here, we've seen it go from where it was around 30 people to we're running at 100 now, and that's positive. We know we still got a long ways to go, but it's exciting. We've seen 47, I believe it is, new members in that period of time. We have others who are visiting, who are considering membership. And it has been a blessing to see that there's been a rejuvenation of the spirit, of excitement, of joy. But the mindset that's different really is we really focus on reaching this community. And what does that mean? We sometimes on Wednesday night at our meal will have homeless people sitting down and fellowshipping with, eating with, and talking to people who are, upper middle income people. They're enjoying that together. They're having a good time together. And so it's really neat to kind of see how that God is building something here that really is different, but it's because we're in a neighborhood that's different. When you do this work, you restart a church, you restart it with that in mind. Okay, then what do we need to be to reach the community? It's no longer what have we always done. It's no longer how do we maintain what we do. It's what is it that will reach this community? What does this community need? When you restart, you start with that mindset. How do we position ourselves to reach this community? Not just to exist, not to raise some funds, but to reach people in this community with the gospel, because that's what the church exists for. We don't exist to maintain. We don't exist to be able to say our building's pretty or nice or whatever. We exist to reach people with the gospel. And if you cease to do that, then the main thing you need to do is stop and say, okay, let's get back to the main thing being the main thing. How do we do that? God's not glorified by a church closing its doors. God's glorified by a church being restored and growing and accomplishing what He wants. I wanted to help restore a church, replant a church, see God restore. I think of it as seeing God's glory restored in a fellowship. God's doing something here, and it's something that it's worth our investment. And it's just been neat to see lives changed, and the people that have come into our church, and now, one of the guys that's starting to play in our praise band is just a huge blessing. And if you saw him, you'd kind of think he's not the typical person you might see in church, but he loves Jesus. And he loves playing in the praise band, and is gifted, and God's blessing him, and God's building His church, and it's not with the standard, traditional, average-looking Christian person. It's with His family, which is everybody, every walk of life, every look of life, and that's exciting.